everybody, Fire here. So, today we are going to talk about the Hawaiian Cowboys. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hawaiian Cowboys? I've never heard of that. I know, I didn't hear of it either. I found out about it a few years ago. Um, if you don't know me, I've talked about Westerns a few times before on my channel, and not in depth, but how I do like watching them. And so um, when I found a book about about Hawaiian cowboys, that intrigued me because I never thought of Hawaii going with cowboys. So if you want to learn more about this, please stay tuned to watch to hear more about this. So the origin of Hawaiian cowboys. So the first cows that landed in Hawaii was in 1793. It was a cordial visit from by the British, and this was during the reign of King Kamehameha the First, and they gave him 5 longhorn cattle. So obviously cattle don't really aren't native to Hawaii, so they weren't too they didn't really know what to do with them, because obviously the terrain, if even if you've never been to Hawaii or you've never seen real life pictures of Hawaii, you know how people would describe Hawaii. It's an island, sand, palm trees, coconuts, not too many things that would sustain cattle life. So after a while, this after a few couple hundred years, King Kamehameha the Third at this time, um, people started they didn't fully understand cattle, but they were in Hawaii, but they were more open to it. So King Kamehameha the Third, he imported Mexican vaqueros again. Um, he imported Mexican vaqueros to, which are um, which are basically kind of like cowboys. They wrangle cows. So he basically imported them to Hawaii, and and so so give to help give more knowledge of ranching. So because obviously most of the western regions in America now, in the United States now, were territories that Mexico owned. So obviously vaqueros knew that's why cowboys dress up as Mexicans, basically. So Mexicans were the original cowboys. So they would obviously know how to handle and round and wrangle cattle, so they would know. So at this point, the this created a whole new culture of cowboys. It was not North American cowboys. It wasn't American cowboys. It wasn't Mexican cowboys. These were now Polynesian cowboys. So so many of these cowboys. So after a while, the many of after a while, many of these Hawaiians Sorry. Many of these Hawaiians started understanding how to manage the cattle on their island, on this island now. So fast forward to 19th century, the Wild West show. Many people during the 19th century, which are the 1800s, sometimes centuries and eras can, it messes me up sometimes, so I'm just, so it could happen to other people. So 19th century or the 1800s, many people wanted to, but many people had a tough time just throughout life during the 18th, 19th century in America, in America in particularly. So then we go to Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill tried to give a sense of romanticization of the West, to basically kind of like just to brighten up people's spirits. So like if you've ever been to a rodeo show, you would see people um who would ride bucking broncos, bulls. You would see people on um you would see people on horses perform. You would see gun shows, some things like that. So what you see today in rodeos, you would have seen in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. So the thing is that since now going back to the Hawaiian Cowboys, there were three of the most notable of Hawaiian Cowboys were called, now bear with me, Ikua Purdy, Archie Kawawa, and Jack Lowe. So they were they out were they performed at the Wild Wild West show, and then so they showed that Hawaiians can also be cowboys as well. Now, many people didn't actually understand this at first because it's just like, why are they coming from all the way from Hawaii to do this? To because remember at this point Hawaii was not part of America just yet. So they were wondering, like, they've never, like, they wouldn't think a tropical island had people who knew how to wrangle cattle, ride horses. I don't know if they really knew. I don't know if they knew gun tricks. It didn't say in the. I didn't see that when I did my research, but yeah. So I thought it was very interesting, and but why is this so significant? The reason I feel like this is so significant is because there is a dwindling number of Hawaiians, and many natives have had to move to the U.S. mainland because Hawaii is too expensive. So I believe that this is a story that, because I feel like when if we hear Hawaiians, we don't necessarily think, we think of a separate culture, and they do have a separate culture because technically, if you want to be technical, they're technically Native Americans just as much as the Plains Indians. So because they're part of North America, so they're the indigenous people just like the Plains Indians. So, but the Plains Indians were are also part of our culture. So Hawaiians need to be part of our culture as well. And so I feel like it needs to be recognized that Hawaiians did take part in our culture. We didn't, yes, some of yes, they had Western influences, which was the British were their first encounter with Western influences, but I feel like were able to they were able to incorporate American culture into their culture, just and I feel like we need to accept Hawaiians as part of American culture as well. And but yet we also need to acknowledge that Hawaiians do have their own culture just as well. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but what I just I want it more. I would like to know, to show that, to have more of Hawaiian culture recognized in American history, because since Hawaii is now part of America, I feel like we should recognize that more, because we're taught about the Plain Indians in school, but we're not really taught a lot about Hawaiians in school. So I think it's important for all of us to study, and it's important to study Hawaiian culture, Indian culture, um, Japanese American culture, Chinese American culture, Black American culture. There's even white American culture. I mean, I could do a whole other video on that too, but yeah, they even have a name for their own. They have a name for their own for Hawaiian Cowboys, which is called Paniolos. So I thought that was very interesting. So um, that's all I have for today. Bye.